Hey everyone, I'm working to hit 1,000 subscribers and I need your help to get there. If you enjoy this content, please hit that subscribe button right now.
Picture the scene for a moment. A crowded room humming with anticipation, the smell of overpriced beer in the air, jerseys stretched tight across hopeful shoulders, and the Toronto Blue Jays sitting right at the center of every conversation like the guest of honor who knows everyone is whispering about them. I was at an event recently, surrounded by Jays fans who looked like they'd already mentally penciled in a winning season. The bats. Loved. The rotation. Adored. The optimism was almost loud enough to rattle the windows. But then, like a shadow creeping across a sunny afternoon, the same question kept surfacing again and again, quietly at first, then louder, then impossible to ignore. Are we actually comfortable with the bullpen? And more specifically, are we truly at peace with Jeff Hoffman holding the keys to the ninth inning? There's a reason that question carries weight. If you zoom out and squint just a little, the blueprint for this Jays team becomes clear. There's a sense that the offense might take a slight step back, not a collapse, not a disaster, just a gentle regression to the mean. At the same time, the starting rotation feels poised to push forward, to shoulder more innings, to turn games into tight, grinding affairs decided by inches rather than miles. And when that happens, when margins shrink and every run feels like it's worth double, the ninth inning stops being just another inning. It becomes a courtroom, a confessional, and sometimes an execution chamber all rolled into one. So today, here on the Blue Jays Report, we're diving headfirst into that tension-filled final act of a baseball game. We're talking about the closer's role, about Jeff Hoffman, and about whether the Jays are gambling wisely or playing with fire as they march towards 2026. If you enjoy this kind of deep-dive Blue Jays commentary, now's a perfect moment to like the video, share it with a fellow fan who's already arguing about the bullpen, and subscribe to the Blue Jays Report so you don't miss what comes next. Now, before anyone sharpens their pitchforks, let's be absolutely clear about one thing. This is not a hit job. Jeff Hoffman is not some cardboard villain twirling a mustache in the bullpen. In fact, if we're being honest, there were moments last season when Hoffman looked less like a question mark and more like a full stop. Period. End of discussion. Game over. There were stretches where he didn't just close games, he suffocated them, like the ninth inning itself had sworn an oath of loyalty to him. Cast your mind back to March and April, when the season was still young and hope was fresh. Hoffman logged 15.1 innings with a sparkling 1.17 ERA, and every appearance felt like a statement. June followed with another dominant run, 10 innings, a 1.8 ERA, the kind of numbers that make opposing hitters stare at the dugout ceiling wondering what they'd done wrong in a past life. September arrived, and somehow he got even better, 10.2 innings, a microscopic 0.84 ERA, as if the pressure of the stretch run only sharpened his focus. Then came October, the brightest lights of all, where he threw 12.1 innings in the playoff run with a 1.46 ERA, standing tall while the entire baseball world leaned in to watch. Up until that moment everyone remembers, that moment that still echoes like a dropped glass in a silent room, Jeff Hoffman had been solid. Reliable. Calm. The sort of closer who makes you exhale as he jogs in from the bullpen. But baseball has a cruel sense of timing, and it only takes one swing to rewrite a narrative that took months to build. Despite those elite stretches, the final stat line tells a far messier story. A 0.5 WAR. A 4.37 ERA. Numbers that look almost impossible when held up against those dominant runs. It's like reading two different books with the same cover. And the reason lies in the moments when things didn't just go wrong, they went spectacularly, catastrophically wrong. In May, Hoffman was nearly unplayable, coughing up a staggering 13.5 ERA over 10 innings. July brought a 4.5 ERA across another 10 innings, and August followed with a 6 ERA in 12 innings. When Hoffman stumbled, he didn't trip. He fell down the stairs, through the banister, and into the basement. So how does a pitcher swing so violently between brilliance and disaster? How does someone look like the best closer in baseball one month and a liability the next? The answer, plain and unforgiving, is the long ball. The home run. That single, devastating act that turns confidence into chaos in the blink of an eye. When you dig into the underlying numbers, the story becomes uncomfortably clear. Hoffman found himself in the bottom 1 percentile in barrel rate, surrendering more dangerous contact than almost anyone in the league. That's not just bad luck. That's living on the edge. It translated into one of the worst home run rates in Major League Baseball, with Hoffman allowing nearly 2 homers per 9 innings. For a closer, that's like juggling lit fireworks. Sometimes you pull it off. Sometimes everything explodes. That volatility explains everything. There was no middle ground with Jeff Hoffman. No steady, unspectacular competence. He was either dominant, untouchable, and thrilling, or he was a ticking time bomb waiting for the wrong pitch at the wrong moment. And that brings us to the uncomfortable heart of the discussion. What should the Jays actually do about it? Are we genuinely comfortable handing Jeff Hoffman the ball in the 9th inning as we walk into 2026? For me, the answer sits somewhere in the emotional no man's land of meh. It's not panic. It's not confidence. It's that uneasy shrug you give when you know something could work, but you also know it could go spectacularly wrong. Over the course of a regular season, Hoffman as the closer probably doesn't sink the Jays' playoff hopes. He's capable. He's shown he can dominate. He's proven he can handle pressure, at least for long stretches. But the postseason is a different beast entirely, and that's where the doubt starts to gnaw. October baseball doesn't forgive mistakes. One misplaced pitch, one swing that carries a little too far, and an entire season can evaporate. Hoffman flirted with that danger all year, and while he nearly escaped October unscathed, the very problem that haunted him eventually returned at the worst possible moment. One home run. One reminder that volatility doesn't care about context or timing. The good news, and yes there is good news, is that the story isn't finished. There's a mountain of baseball still to be played, and the Jays have made it clear they're not locking the 9th inning in a vault and throwing away the key. The door is open, even if only slightly, for someone else to step into that role if circumstances demand it. And that's where the conversation gets interesting. Without diving too deep down the rabbit hole today, one name keeps floating to the surface. Louis Varland. The pitch mix. The velocity. The poise. Once he found his footing in Toronto last season, he didn't just perform, he cooked. He looks like a long-term piece, the kind of arm you can build trust in over time. If Hoffman's home run issues resurface, Varland feels like more than just a backup plan. He feels like a potential answer. Ultimately, though, the truth is as uncomfortable as it is honest. We don't get to know the ending yet. We have to wait. We have to watch. We have to live with the tension of every 9th inning and see which version of Jeff Hoffman shows up when it matters most. That uncertainty is frustrating, but it's also part of what makes baseball so addictive. So now I want to hear from you. Do you trust Jeff Hoffman as the closer moving forward, or do you want the Jays to start preparing for a change? Drop your thoughts in the comments, get the debate going, and if you've enjoyed this breakdown, make sure to like, share, and subscribe to the Blue Jays Report for more Blue Jays content just like this. Thanks so much for watching, and as always, go Jays!